Now, in today's segment of Looking for God in All the Wrong Places, we are talking about the song All These Things That I've Done. Is sung by The Killers in 2004. Now, I'm going to admit something here. I'm going to get this song mixed up with the Verve's song that we did a couple of weeks ago because there's so many similar things going on, including some of the similar words. And when I hear those words, I think of the Verve. But I'm going to try not to get them mixed up. Although, like I said, they're so similar. It's so similar. So the song All These Things That I've Done by The Killers reflects the struggles of its writer, Brandon Flowers, as he grapples with his faith and personal identity. The song is about 4 minutes long. The song is about atonement for past misdeeds and the need to mature and become a better person. Okay. However, the people who Flowers needs atonement from aren't willing to give it or believe he has the capacity for change. Actually, I don't think he thinks he has the capacity for change. Now, before I get to the first line, okay, this is how the song starts. When there's nowhere else to run, is there room for one more sun? One more sun. If you can hold on, hold on. All right. The first two lines, it gave me a fucking headache. When there's nowhere else to run, is there room for one more sun? It gave me a headache. And now I'm going to share that headache with you. Okay? I'm going to share that headache with you. Okay, I'm hoping that you can see this. There we go. Oh, now I'm hitting. Okay. One more sun. Beautiful. There we go. Now. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. I'm going to need the red marker for this one. All right. This part is pretty self-explanatory. There's nowhere else to run. Okay. That's self-explanatory. Basically, you're cornered. Okay, you are cornered. That's it. You're cornered. You're trapped. You're like a raccoon in you're treed. Okay, that's it. Nowhere else to run. Like a raccoon has been treed right up there. Okay, that's self-explanatory. Okay. Then there's this. Is there room for one more sun? No. I'm going to forget the word sun for right now. Is there room for one more? I'm going to take that separately, and then I'm going to deal with this word here. That's the one that kicks my ass. That one word, when, okay? Because, like I said, we have already established that there's nowhere else to run. You're like a raccoon stuck in a tree. This is the tree, like that. That's the tree, and this is the raccoon right here. That right there, coon. That's the coon right there up a tree. Nowhere else to run. Now, you can say, is there room for one more son? Like, are you in trouble? You can come up here in the tree with me. You could look at it that way. Is there room for one more? No. But who's he talking to? See, is there room for who is he talking to? Is he asking, look, I'm alone up here. Can somebody join me? I don't know. And then he says, one more son. Okay. Now, some people say that they believe that the son here is Jesus. Okay. Some people believe that. I'm not certain yet. I think it gets clearer as we get into the rest of the song. Okay. It gets a little bit clearer, but not grammatically better. But this, when, okay, because what we're dealing with here is a difference between when, okay, versus where. All right. Now, the reason why I say that is because there's no place else to run is aware. Okay. This is where there's no place else to run. This is aware right here. The tree, it's aware. Where? Not aware like AWARE, because the tree is not really aware. It's a conscious, but it's not aware. But it's aware. Now, when? That's time. Okay? That is time. That is a construct. It's like when there's no place else to run. So perhaps if he was in a situation, let's say yesterday, and there was no place left to run, or tomorrow there was no place, he could be in the same tree but have some place to run. I don't know. This drove me fucking crazy because not only is is missing punctuation, yes, there's punctuation missing, and that can make a difference. Where they put commas, where they put periods. You know, it's like when I was back in the old days when I was studying to be a minister, and we get out a little Hebrew book. You know, we're reading the Old Testament in Hebrew, and there's like lack of punctuation or a lack of vowels, and we're sitting there for hours discussing how something should be said and taken, because you'd have the Hebrew but with no vowels, and depending on how you broke it up, the meaning would totally change. And this is the same thing here. Where's the punctuation? It makes a difference. So this is why this kicked my ass. Okay. Now, I don't have the original manuscript. I only have the text from online, but every place online I went had the same punctuation problems. So this kicked my ass. I'm not going to lie to you. I was up minutes, maybe many minutes, trying to figure this one out. Okay. So I'm hoping that it becomes clear to us as the song progresses. All right. Now, the line after that, after the one that gave me all this fucking fit, one more son, if you can hold on, hold on. Again, I don't know who he's talking to. I don't know who the you is. Okay. If he's already talking to God, okay, then he's saying, if you can hold on talking to God, then what is he asking God to do? Is he asking God, can you like hold on one more minute? You know, can you hold on before you help me? Or is he saying, get a hold of me, God, grab me, hold on. And if you can hold on, hold on. Okay. Don't know yet. I'm hoping that this is revealed later in the song for the two of us, or for all of us to look at together. Now, because the next line says, I want to stand up, I want to let go. You know, no, you don't. Okay. I want to stand up, I want to let go. You know, no, you don't know. You don't. Okay. Now, those two lines there, it's kind of like he's saying, okay, all right, I don't have to tell you what he's saying by I want to stand up, I want to let go. Okay. He's in a bad spot. He wants to let go of the things that's holding him there, and he wants to stand up, get out of the mire. Okay, fine. That's, but you don't know. That's the part that I want to talk about, because if he's talking to God, he's saying, look, he says, oh no, you don't know. The reason why he's saying you don't know is because God doesn't know you. He's saying you are God. You can't know what a man or woman, a human, is going through. You can't understand it.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can be aware of it. You can say, oh, I see them drowning. But unless you're in the water with me, you don't know. And if you don't get in the water ever, you just don't know. You just see somebody struggling. It's like they say, you walk a mile in my shoes. Okay. So he's saying to God, you don't know. You don't know my struggles. You've never struggled. You've always been God. Okay. And now people say that's why he sent Jesus. Okay. So that he could understand. That's still, okay, here we go. That's the difference between helping and sending help. If I'm on the shore and I see you drowning and you yell, "Yo, Reverend, I'm drowning. Can you help me?" And I say, "I don't get no water." And I look at my son and I go, "Go help him." See, I've sent help, but I did not help. Okay, there's a difference. Now my son is walking across the water to help you. That's who's helping, not me. I'm just standing there watching because I don't get wet. I don't know. It's the hair. It's the hair. The hair gets wet, takes hours to dry, like 3 hours to dry naturally, an hour and 15 minutes to dry under the dryer. Could do it faster, but it burns my scalp. I could turn the heat up and dry the hair faster, but then my scalp starts to peel. Don't want that. Because that's another comedy team, Keenan and Peele, and you don't want that. I'm getting sued. My scalp starts to peel. So you don't do that. So yes, he's saying, I want to stand up, I want to let go. You know, you don't know. Then he says, I want to shine on in the hearts of men. I want a meaning from the back of my hand. Okay. We've established that perhaps he believes that God does not understand his struggle. But he says, I want to shine on in the hearts of men. Okay. I want them to see me as good. I know that I'm not all that good, but I want people to see me that way. So help me be that. He says, I want a meaning from the back of my hand. Okay, now, sorry. I want a meaning from the back of my broken hand. Now, there's two things I want to just, and I don't know where he's going with this. I'm going to say, first of all, if he's struggling, he may be just banging his hand against the wall. Okay, and that's why his hand is broken. He's struggling, and he's just banging his hand against the things he's struggling against, banging against the wall, banging it against barriers, so much so that his hand is broken. Okay, but he wants meaning from that. He goes, okay, I understand. My hand's broken, but I need to understand it's broken. Now I need this to mean something. I need this hand to mean, this broken hand, I need it to mean something. Okay, I just don't want it to be broken for nothing. Please let me find some kind of meaning from this suffering, self-inflicted suffering, because he's controlling his hand. He's the one who's doing it. But now he needs to make meaning. He's like, okay, yeah, I did this. Tell me why. Tell me why. And there's also and I don't think he went this deep. This is just me. There's an expression that says, I know this like the back of my hand. Okay. And he's looking for meaning in this from the back of his broken hand. Of course, he doesn't know it yet. He doesn't know it. Not like the back of his hand. Like I say, I don't think he went that far. I don't think they go that deep. That sounds more like a me thing than a they thing. So anything, not a they thing. So me I'm thinking too much for them. That's okay. The next line, another head aches. Now that's headaches. That's not headaches. It's two words. Another head aches. Another heart breaks. Not single words, headache and heartbreak. It's one heart, headache and heartbreak. So another head aches, another heart breaks. I'm so much older than I can take. All right. Now, I see this because earlier talked about he wants to be a shining light. I believe these headaches and these heartaches are things that he has caused. Okay. Things that he's done, and he wants them to be right. And I'll tell you and I say this, I'll give you the next two lines, then I'm gonna back up to I'm so much older than I can take. The next lines are, and my affection, well, it comes and goes, I need direction to perfection. No, 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 no. But I'm going to go back to I'm so much older than I can take. Now, basically, when it comes to life, there are two rules: grow old or die. Those are two basic rules. You grow old or you die. Now, if you're growing old, two things can happen. Well, one thing for certain, if you're growing old, you're experiencing stuff. Okay, now how you experience it is up to you. Is it going to be good, bad? That's okay. I can't answer that for you. I can only tell you there's going to be experiences from growing old. In my case, getting old means getting over life's disappointments, plain and simple. So he's saying, I'm so much older than I can take. It's like, I don't want to keep living, I guess. That's what he's saying. I don't want to keep living, but the alternative is not very good. But as long as I'm living, I keep hurting people, and I can't take that. I can't take me hurting these people. I can't do it. But the way I am, my nature, I'm going to hurt people as long as I'm alive. It says right here, and my affection, well, it comes and goes. Okay? If you're in a relationship, that's kind of painful to be the other person. It's also painful for you. If your affection comes and goes, your determination comes and goes, you don't know from one moment to the next. See, that's verb. You don't know from one moment to the next. See, what you're going to be feeling. And if you're not feeling attachment, you're causing headaches and heartaches. So he's saying, I don't want that. I'm so much older than I can take. Quote, I need direction to perfection. So he knows he's flawed, but he knows he can't get there by himself. So he says, I need direction to perfection. Help me out here. I don't know what the no is. I need direction to perfection. No. I don't know what that means. Maybe he's not going to get perfection. I don't know. No, I do not know. No. Now, his very next line, okay, talking to God, addressing God, help me out. Yeah. You got to help me out. Yeah. Oh, don't you put me on the back burner. You got to help me out. Yeah. Now he's saying to God, look, I need your help. Now it says, don't put me on the back burner. It's like, take care of this now. Because quite often when people ask God for help, it seems like God's not doing anything. And then there's those people who are of the faith that says, no, it happens in God's time. Okay. That means like it's on the back burner. He'll get to it. Okay. That's what some people say who are of the faith, that God will get to it eventually. And he say, no, don't put it on the back burner. I'm hurting people now. I'm hurting now. Don't do that. Help me stop. Help me help myself from hurting people. Help me help myself from not hurting people. No, help me. Don't put me on the back burner. And this goes back to where he says, you don't know. You don't know, because if you knew, you wouldn't put me on the back burner. If you knew my pain, you'd understand I'm hurting now. Don't put me on the back burner. This is more of a desperate attempt to get God's attention and say, hey, now, I need it now. No, not later. Later could be too late. So he says, we don't know. Let's wait till we get to the end of the song, see if he's still around. Because now he's going back to the original lines that gave me such a headache. Okay. And when there's nowhere else to run, is there room for one more son? Okay. Now, I'm not convinced that one more son is a reference to Jesus, because I guess Jesus would be like Jello and there's always room for one more. I'm assuming. I can't imagine that Jello is better than Jesus, although they both start with J and have 5 letters. You know, that's not better. That's just scale. You know, they have the same number of letters. They both start with J, and they should both be room for, you know, they're equal. Jesus equals Jello is what I'm saying. It's, I don't know. That wasn't in the script. I'm trying to work that out in my head right now. I'm trying to do the math to see if Jello and Jesus are the same. Now I gotta get the weight. I had to get the atomic weight of those letters to see. Never mind. Again, he may not be going there. Okay, but the next lines after, is there room for one more son? These changes ain't changing me. Okay, the cold-hearted boy I used to be. So, and when there's nowhere else to run, he's back to being cornered. He's back to being cornered, and he needs the help. So, is there room for one more son? I'm guessing that he's like alone. He's cornered, and he doesn't want to be cornered alone. Maybe somebody can join him there. And if it's the son, if it's Jesus, sure. You know, just somebody. So I'm not alone. So I'm not trapped by myself. Somebody come help me. Okay. Now it says these changes aren't changing me. So the person that he was, and this goes just like the verb, it's like the person that he was, the person that is deep down inside hasn't changed. Even though life itself is full of changes and he encounters all these things, he hasn't changed. His affection is still come and go. He hasn't changed, but he wants to change. So saying, God, help me now. I really want to change. Now, does he believe he can change? That's another question. Does he believe that even if God says, here's the means by which you can change, does he believe that he can change? The next line goes, yeah, you know, you got to help me out. Oh, don't you put me on the back burner. See, now he's getting kind of cocky. It's like, oh, you got to help me out. You don't put me on the back burner. You know you got to help me out. Yeah. Now, here's the next 3 lines, the same line over and over again. You're going to bring yourself down. Yeah. You're going to bring yourself down. Yeah. You're going to bring yourself down. I referenced this earlier when he talked about God not knowing him or his struggle. See, in order for God to help him, and no, he has to come down. If God is going to help, God's going to have to come down. He's going to have to get his feet wet. Okay. If you're drowning, you're going to get wet. Yeah. Oh, you can throw a rope. Sure. Throw a rope. Guess what? Pulling that rope in, you're going to get wet. Even if it's just your hands, you're going to get wet. And there's going to be dirt on the rope. You're going to get a little dirty. You're going to get a little, no matter what that situation is, you're going to get some. And then once they get there, you're going to reach down and pull them up. You're going to get wet. And he's saying, you got to get involved. You can't just stand back there and help me. That's not helping me standing back there. And he's not saying send help. He's saying help me. Don't send help. Help me. Now, of course, what people don't understand is that is not exactly how God works. God does not do anything directly. Okay? Can't. Incapable of it. Not possible. I mean, back in Jacob's ladder tells you back then about the angels coming back and forth to intercede. Okay? That's God's workers, God's worker bees. It's like the queen in a bee's nest. The queen does not leave the nest to do anything. The queen sends out the bees, and the bees come back and says, oh, queen, you're so glorious, we're going to feed you. Oh, queen, you're so glorious, we're going to impregnate you so you can make more bees. It's like, oh, queen, you're so glorious, we're going to defend the nest with our lives. You don't do anything. And he's saying, get your ass out the hive and help me. I need some honey. Help me. Don't just send your worker bees. I want you to help me. Now, that's where some of the problems come in live, because some people literally refuse help unless they think it's coming from God themselves. God itself, himself, herself, they self, self-serve. And it's like, no, don't you help me. I want God to help me. No. It's like the old joke. Where there's a man, his boat is overturned, he's drowning in the river, and the rapids are moving him along, and he's drowning and he's losing his breath, and a branch falls. And when the guy is praying to God, help me, God, help me, help me. And he sees a bear, the bear gets on the tree falls into the water, and instead of the guy grabbing the branch, he just floats on by, struggling, and says, God, help me, God, help me. It's like, oh, there's a tree right there, okay. And then some people go by with the boat, and they say, we can help you. It's like, oh, I'm waiting on God to help me, you know. And when the guy dies, he says, God, why did you help me? He says, look, I sent the tree, I sent the boat. What the fuck else do you want? I can't get wet. My hair. It takes hours to dry.
Praise the Lord.
That's right. So now, so he's saying, in order for you to help me, you've got to come down here so you can see my situation. You got to come down here so you can understand my situation. And that's the difference between sending help and helping. Okay. Now here's the refrain. Okay. And he says this 10 times. 10 times he says, I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. Okay. 10 times he says that. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. 10 times. Now, biblically, 10 times is like a number of completion, numerology, stuff like that. I'm not going to get into numerology. He could have just said it 10 times. I don't know why he said it 10 times. But in numerology, that's a number of completion. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. The point is, he really liked that line, and he thought it was really cute and clever. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. Now, I'm going to break it down as such. I got soul. I'm super bad. I got soul. Huh. Yeah. Now I'm super bad. I don't think that's what he meant. I don't think he meant I'm James Brown. I think he meant I got soul, like I'm a breathing human being. I have essence. I have a soul. The thing is I'm not a soldier. Okay. There's two ways of looking, or probably more than two ways. I'm going to take two different approaches. One is that quite often Christians consider themselves soldiers for their cause. Soldiers for Christ, soldiers for God, soldiers for their religion, soldiers for their faith. And if that's the case, he's saying, I'm not a soldier. I'm not going to fight I'm not going to kill for you. I got a soul, I believe, but I'm not going to kill for you. Okay. But then there's the other meaning. Okay. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. Soldiers have to conform. So he's saying, I got soul, but I'm not ready to conform. I can't conform. I'm not going to conform. So those are the two ways, and I'm not sure which way he's saying it, or both. I'll let you determine that. But the next line seems to come out of nowhere. He follows that with the three words, time, truth, and hearts. That's it. He says time, truth, and hearts. Now, of course, three words, people say, well, that's a Trinity. Okay, and they go, okay, well, time, truth, and heart. So, yeah, okay, well, and if that's the case, time is that Father, Holy Spirit, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, the Holy Spirit would be hearts, the Son would be truth, and God would be time. Okay, now we're going back. We're going to bring this back because this is what drove me fucking crazy to begin with. When is time? Okay, there's nowhere else to run. Will be the truth. He's cornered. That's his truth. That's his time. And is there room for one more? Heart, mercy. I guess. I don't know if he thinks like that. I don't know. But for him to just blurt out three words, time, truth, and hearts, and that's it, nothing else. So I'm plugging it in and back to here because this also didn't make sense. Having the when in front of there's nowhere else to run. He could have said where, he could have said when. Why there's nowhere else to run, I don't know. But when and where, those are two words that, when versus where. When is time. And so later in the song, he goes time, truth, and hearts. So now that expression may take on different meaning. It just took a while to get there. Next he says, why, thank you, Anne, thank you. Anne says, a great sermon.
Amen.
Thank you, Anne. That's right. Fuck yeah. Okay. Now, the next lines, you got to help me out. Yeah. Is that the next line? Let me sure I got the right place. Yes. You got to help me out. Yeah. Oh, don't you put me on the back burner. You got to help me out. Yeah. You're going to bring yourself down. You're going to bring yourself down. Yeah. You're going to bring yourself down. Yeah. Oh, don't you put me on the back burner. You're going to bring yourself down. Yeah. You're going to bring yourself down. Yeah. Okay. Same. We've kind of covered that already, where it says, I need your help. Don't put me in the back burner. I need your help now. Help me now. Okay. Don't put me in the back burner. I need your help now. Later could be too late. Help me now. Okay. But the next verse, and this is, and I know I'm going long, but there were a lot of dead people this week. And the song, there's a lot for me to discuss here. So I'm going a little long, and if you got to go, I accept that. I hate when preachers go long. I can't stand it myself. All right. The next line says, over and in, last call for sin. While everyone's lost, the battle is won with all these things that I've done. All right. Now, over and in, that's kind of a funny expression. Okay. Now, I don't know if he did it, but the expression over and out, okay, which is what this is like a twist of over and out. Over and out is radio talk. When you're talking on the radio, two people cannot talk at the same time. Okay. So they have words that they say to let you know when one is talking and one is done. All right. So, for example, it's when it says, Dr. Rev Jelly Rolle, my location is the Church of Last Resort. Over, Roger. Okay. Over means that is the end of my sentence. Roger means I'm waiting for a return message. Roger, so you're coming back. I'm waiting for you to say something back to me. Over, Roger. Okay. There's also over and out. Now, over and out means I'm done. That's the end of my sentence, and I'm not listening anymore. Okay. Over, Roger is I'm done and I'm listening. Okay. Now, instead of over and out, he goes over and in. So I'm taking that to be he's still engaged, over and in. I'm done talking, but I'm in. I'm still in this. I'm in this mess. I'm listening. I'm waiting for help. I'm still engaged. Whatever it is, I'm in it. Okay. And then it goes, all these things that I have done, time, truth, and hearts. Repeats that. Again, no real explanation, just time, truth, and hearts, which is why, because of how out of place that is, I attach it to the first sentence, which to me is so out of place. And he says, if you can hold on, hold on. Okay. If you can hold on, if you can hold on. Okay. Now that is the end of the song. If you can hold on, if you can hold on. Again, is he saying, God, if you can hold on to me, please do? Or is this a word of encouragement to someone else who's listening? If you can hold on, hold on. If you can wait, wait. that's the end of that song. Okay, that concludes it. I hope that it. That is the last looking for God of all the looking for God in all the wrong places of 2025. I hope that this one and the other ones may either were, if not entertaining and not enlightening, at least they weren't a waste of your time. I'm hoping, at minimum, it's not a waste of your time, and at most, you got something out of it. And please, if you've got different interpretations, let me know, because I am not infallible. I am just good looking. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. It just means I'm nice to look at. So,
Fucking liars!
So, before I close, I want to encourage people to listen to G.D. Fenderson's podcast with Alan Katz, the legendary Alan Katz. It's called What Makes Us Laugh, and it's on Spotify and almost anywhere else that you get your podcast. It's like everywhere. So I think there's like 8 episodes. So there's enough for you to start binge watching, binge listening. So it's a podcast. So check it out. And if you need to rent a comedian for an event, go to gigsalad.com/GD Fenderson. He is available, and he can be very funny if the money's right.